and welcome to your Thursday night edition of the Beaver News. I'm Dana Delgado.
And I'm Conrad Cartmell. We're glad you could join us for the first show of winter term. We all know that last Monday was MLK Day, so I went out to see how OSU students were celebrating his memory. OSU students got a jump on MLK Day this year by volunteering on Saturday for the Day of Service. Despite being on an otherwise quiet weekend morning, everyone was out of bed and excited to help their community. Volunteers split up and headed out to a number of different work sites, all in the area. We caught up with Emily Bowling from Civic Engagement to discuss the event.
It's very exciting. We have 285 people sign up. This is probably going to end up being the largest event that our office has ever done in terms of a Day of Service project. So that's incredibly exciting. We've had 11 projects and we filled them all. By Thursday, I think they all were full, and we had a few walk-ins come in. So it's really exciting, and I think it just speaks to the fact that MLK really moves people. I think the MLK Day is one of our days that we have the easiest time recruiting people to come out and do service because they feel so called to do something to honor King.
Once we got to one of the work sites, students and other community members alike were hard at work. People we spoke to said they were excited to be out honoring the memory of Martin Luther King Jr. And everyone seemed to be having a good time helping out.
I think what's most important is that people learn the spirit behind Martin Luther King's message and what his life's work was all about. And so I think that community service, community engagement is one of many ways that one can live out King's message and kind of honor the legacy of Dr. King.
Well, just listening to his speeches all the time, you hear about them in classes all the time, and you can relate them to like anything in your life. This is a really powerful figure.
Although MLK Day might seem like just a day off of work, these dedicated volunteers remind us that it's a time to honor one of our country's greatest heroes. For Beaver News, this has been Conrad Cartmell.
Beaver News reporters Nathan Hellman and Holly Clausen went to a town hall meeting where they caught up with Senator Ron Wyden. Here they are to tell you more.
I'm Holly Clausen, and welcome to Need to Know. The Beaver News digs deeper into the issues that affect you.
And I'm Nathan Hellman. U.S. Senator Ron Wyden fielded questions from community members in Corvallis on Tuesday as part of his annual tour of Oregon's counties. This week's town hall meeting was the senator's 680th since being elected in 1996. Known for his relatively independent voice, Senator Wyden famously crossed party lines last year to support Senator Rand Paul in his filibuster over privacy rights and the NSA.
We spoke with Senator Wyden outside the event where he explained why he believes these meetings are so important.
Well, the most important part of the town hall meetings is to throw open the doors of government. We're a long way from Washington, D.C. There's certainly a lot of understandable frustration and anger about what goes on back there. And this is one way that I can really bring government, particularly the federal government, home and make sure that people know that their government is accessible to them.
Considerable time was spent discussing the senator's intended topic, trade, and community members were able to present their own ideas to Wyden as well. The Gazette-Times released an article about the meeting yesterday addressing the conflicting ideas that could be seen in the eyes of some citizens over safety regulations that would be ignored if the bill was passed, particularly the safety issues in Oregon's western forests. The Gazette-Times quoted Wyden's response saying that in order for the state of Oregon to get anywhere with any kind of bill, some kind of compromise would need to be made to join the two opposing sides.
Senator Wyden also took questions from the crowd regarding gun and privacy rights as well as economic policy. He indicated his support of comprehensive background checks for gun buyers as well as the need for more effective treatment of mental health issues. The senator referenced a recent speech made by President Obama, saying that although it was a step in the right direction, there is work yet to be done in ensuring citizens' rights to privacy. As the town hall drew to a close, the senator outlined his vision of a suitable economic approach for Oregon, which he shared again later with us.
Look to trade, of course, because we've got this geographic advantage with the Pacific Rim. We're so much closer than those parts of the country on the East Coast of the United States. And we have a long tradition originating essentially with the Japanese in some of the earliest discussions. And I just believe it's a huge potential market for our ag products, for our renewable energy products, for intellectual property areas where we lead. And I think it's a natural advantage for us. And that's why I've said let's grow things here, let's make things here, and let's add value to them here and then ship them.
Senator Wyden continues his tour of Oregon counties through this week, ending on January 25th at the Columbia County Town Hall. I'm Holly Clausen.
And I'm Nathan Hellman, and this has been What You Need to Know.
Thanks, Nathan and Holly. Coming up next, we'll learn a little about gun safety and what the Pistol Club here at OSU is doing about it.
Welcome back to the Beaver News. I'm Conrad Cartmell.
And I'm Dana Delgado. Gun safety, handling, and awareness were just a few things discussed at the Pistol Club meeting on Tuesday. Beaver News reporter Ashley Van Pelt has more on the story.
There are guns at OSU, and these sharpshooters are deadly accurate. But they are not after you. Their targets are 50 yards away, and their sights are set on safety.
That specific problem.
Anyone who comes to OSU Pistol Club, we want to teach them basic firearm safety, not just for shooting firearms here in the range, but also for when they go out into the world and they encounter a firearm wherever else, be it in a family home, or should they choose to buy a gun later in life, to also know how to be safe around it. The basic 3 safety rules is what we teach.
Our primary safety rules are as outlined in our training. Rule number 1 is you always keep the firearm pointed in a safe direction. In our particular range, safe directions are either down range when you're at the firing line or up anywhere else, which generally involves transporting the firearm from the firing line to the vault. Second safety rule is you always keep the firearm unloaded until you're ready to use it, which means you keep the gun unloaded. That means magazine out, bolt back, and chamber empty, unless your hand is actually on the gun, because if your hand is not on the gun, you cannot be using it. And our third safety rule is that you always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire.
Since 1948, the Pistol Club has operated on OSU's campus without a single incident. And with results like that, who could doubt the accuracy of their mission? This has been Ashley Van Pelt with your Beaver News.
Reporter Lindsay Spino went to OSU's Glee Club practice yesterday to see how Beavers sing in harmony.
The Glee Club is a men's and women's non-audition choir that is here at Oregon State. Their mission is to spread glee throughout campus and the Corvallis community. You may have seen them at one of their performances or flash mobs here at OSU.
Today we are in a sectional, so that means that Jim Davison, the real director of Glee, is with the men somewhere else, and I took the women, and that way we can separate parts and we can get down to a lot more detail than we could if we had guys and girls. So in that case, we got to really make sure the altos knew their part as opposed to like the big picture of everybody sounding the right way.
And how did you get involved with Glee Club?
I showed up to my vocal audition at the beginning of the school year, and I sang for them, and I'd actually passed my piano proficiency test, which is required of all music majors. And so the director of Glee said, hey, you want a job? And so I have been the assistant of Glee choir since, the beginning of October, I think.
Mm-hmm. All right, and why do you like it so much?
I like it because I'm currently a choral music education major, and I'd love to be a choir director one day. And with this, I get to have hands-on experience working with choirs and teaching people their parts.
The Glee Club meets twice a week where they practice using a wide variety of genres and songs.
Time to sing. Like back home I used to sing all the time, and then now I didn't, since I'm not in any of the big choirs, it's nice to have those 2 days where I can just sing.
Students even have opportunities to gain leadership and experience while being in a friendly environment.
I'm the vice president of the Glee Club, which entails apparently morale. I need to keep the people happy and sassy, and also attendance and when it comes to like issues with the council and whatnot. So if people have issues, they come to us and we figure it out as a group. Yeah.
How did you initially get involved with Glee Club?
It was last winter. I was talking to my advisor and I said I wanted to get involved with something musical. And he said, well, there's this random class and they have lots of spots left. So he showed me Glee.
We're in what time signature again? 6-8, good.
In addition to gaining class credit, another benefit is the building of close friendships among students from every corner of campus.
It just has really helped me like make a lot of friends on campus, and it's nice like whenever I'm just walking around on campus, I'll see someone from Glee and be like, hey, what's up?
Let's talk a little bit about the...
This has been Lindsay Spino with Beaver News.
We'll be back after the break with news on the weather.
If there's one thing that's constantly changing at Oregon State, it's the weather. We go to Aubrie Valentine for this weathercast.
Hey there, I'm Aubrie Valentine, and thanks for tuning in for this week's weathercast. Earlier this week, when we turned our eyes to the sky, we've been greeted with gloomy fog. The cold fog that has been lingering around can be attributed to air stagnation, which occurs when pockets of air near the ground remain stationary and don't mix or move with other air currents. Pollution from cars and other sources build up in the same area and reside there for several days. During this time, winds cannot cleanse the buildup of smoke, dust, gas, and other industrial pollution. Today, however, we saw a bit of a break from the clouds and we were able to trade in our winter coats for tanks. Our high temperature of 51 degrees and our clear skies should remain consistent throughout the rest of the weekend. So this Saturday and Sunday may be a good time to dust off that picnic blanket, try out for slacklining, or go for a ride. If you choose to drive to the coast, this weekend, Newport has high temperatures of around 64 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Be sure to take advantage of the sunshine because there's a slight chance for some passing showers Monday through Wednesday. Right now it's 39 degrees, so bundle up and find a cuddle buddy. Thanks for listening. Keep your days glistening. I'm Aubrie Valentine. See you next week.
Well, that's really good news about the weather. I'm excited for some sun.
I know, seriously, I'm sick of wearing my down coat everywhere I go.
Well, we'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back. Here are Madeline Lee and Leah Williams asking people questions in the quad.
I'm standing with Kyle here, and he's a freshman at Oregon State. We asked him, as a freshman, has he faced any new struggles with class size or in his classes adjusting from high school to college?
For me, I mean, the class load's been pretty nice. Class sizes are, I feel like, a generally good size, and then having the recitations really help. Like, that's kind of where I get more in-depth learning. And then I feel like the homework load's pretty easy. Like, it's probably about like an hour or two, like if you need to like get that done just for the week, and that's for that one class. And then, so yeah, I mean, taking about like 14 credits, it's a pretty nice load compared to like what I've had at high school, so.
One of the struggles I face is the cost of textbooks and also the relevance of the textbooks. I just bought a math textbook that was $230, and it's 10 chapters long, and we're only using 3 of them, so it's kind of frustrating, only paying for the whole book but only using portions of it.
How much money did you spend on textbooks this term?
About $600 total versus tuition was about $2,000, so I mean, it's kind of unproportional.
It is unproportional. How many of those textbooks have you found that not only are math book you don't use very often, or I guess the 3 chapters, but do you think that you'll use your other textbooks?
Yeah, partially, and then for some classes I've gotten the textbook and haven't really touched it at all. And then also it's frustrating when the online access code has as much value as the book itself, so when you go back to resell the book you can't really get anything out of it. And so, I mean, it's kind of a proprietary system, and I mean, they're trying to maximize how much money they can make on those textbooks, but at the same time college students don't really have the money for that, so.
My teachers don't really email me back, so I never know like about study guides or anything because they don't tell us in class either, so it's super unfortunate that that happens.
What would you find would be an effective way of communication for teachers to students?
I feel like if they say I use my email or not, because some teachers will be like, don't email me because I won't answer, come to office hours. Just be super clear with all their instructions.
What do you think would be beneficial to you to make you more motivated to get better grades?
Definitely studying with a group makes it a lot easier. And in the past when I have done it, it reflects my grades.
I mean, I'm a science major, so I have a lot of big researcher professors sometimes in my big lecture classes, like organic chemistry, bio, and stuff like that. And there are some teachers who really aren't meant to be teachers. Like, they're just meant to be doing research, and they aren't very good at talking to people, and I just can't really learn that much from them. So I struggle a lot with that, and I have to do a lot of self-teaching. So that's a big problem for me.
So you would say an issue is they're poor communicators?
Yeah, they're bad communication. They just don't really have an interest in the students learning.
So I think that one of the struggles is just the class sizes are so big that it's really hard to get together with study groups and, you know, do all the homework that we have to do.
I think that's so true. Like, how are you expected to meet people in classes when it's a 600-person lecture in Milam? Do you agree?
I agree, wholeheartedly.
Now for me, fashion is always the biggest struggle at school. Here are Julia Cameron and Stephanie Paul for our fashion segment.
Hi, my name is Julia Cameron. And my name is Stephanie Paul. This is Trending at OSU. Tonight we take a look at what our OSU peers think about fashion found here on campus. Let's take a look.
Would you describe your style?
You know, I think I bring an alternative classy here to campus. I like to wear polo shirts and collared shirts, but I tuck in them jeans, so, you know.
My style, I like dress cute occasionally, but I usually like activewear, stuff like that.
I'd say that my style, I like to layer a lot because in Corvallis especially, you definitely have to prepare for all sorts of weather.
Say it's a mix between fratty and preppy.
Say pretty casual, definitely dress for comfort.
Yeah, I'd say comfy casual, pretty laid back.
What do you think is in style on campus?
Really right now, due to the weather and seeing that it's winter, jeans, sweaters, big coats, parkas, I don't know, that's what I'm seeing.
Right now, like North Face stuff, like Columbia, Stay Warm, like running shoes.
Honestly, probably yoga pants for college students, so we like to dress comfortably.
This is definitely the college swag, if you would. I would say it goes down to a lot of people wearing flannels in the winter, bro tanks in the spring, and mixing up in the fall, going for either or.
What type of style would you never wear?
I might be a rebel for saying this, seeing that we're in Corvallis, but I would never catch myself wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat around campus.
I never wear Birkenstocks.
You know, I'm not big on the hipster style. You know, that doesn't work with this body.
A onesie.
How do you think style describes a person?
You know, I really think that somebody's personality can come out through their style, what colors they're wearing, you know, how much clothing they're wearing really says a lot about a person.
That if you display yourself as put together, then people are gonna take you more seriously, or if you look like you just rolled out of bed, then people are gonna think that you're tired all the time.
Style is an expression of individuality and your personality at the same time. It can really, you know, tell people a little bit about who you are.
It looks like casual comfort here is a favorite trend at OSU. Yeah, yoga pants and plaid shirts are definitely popular around this time of year. I loved what people had to say about how style describes others, and I really liked how George said that colors describe a little more about a person. I also love how Chanel brought up how we perceive other people by how they dress in the morning. You know, if you put yourself together, people are going to respect you more, I think. And then, of course, Nick had a unique outlook on things. Unique is the perfect word for that. Well, that's all we have for you this time, but stay tuned for the coming weeks. We have some exciting interviews and Corvallis shopping destinations coming your way. Keep it couture, Corvallis.
We'll be back in a minute to get you caught up on more news.
Welcome back. Basketball is in full swing and baseball is just around the corner. Here are Anna Singer and Brooke Chrysler to give us the scoop on what Beaver sports have been up to the last week.
Last Sunday, the Beavers men's basketball team beat the rival Oregon Ducks 80-72 in the 340th Civil War game. The Beavers were led by Jordan Nelson, who scored a game-high 22 points and also got with 15 points and Angus Brandt with 14. The game brought in a season-high crowd of 6,358 people, which created an exciting atmosphere for the game. Hallis Cook had the hot hand early, cashing in on 2 3-pointers at the beginning of the game, helping the Beavers build a lead that would never be overcome. The Beavers shot an impressive 71% from deep in the first half to complement their stifling defense that held Oregon to just 32.3% shooting from the field and took a 37-30 lead into halftime. Oregon State started the second half strong with help from Roberta Nelson and Angus Brandt, and despite a 10-4 run by the Ducks, still managed to keep the lead until the final buzzer. Oregon State improved to 10-7 overall and 2-3 in the conference, putting them in 9th place in a very competitive Pac-12 conference. The loss dropped Oregon 10th place in conference and is their 4th consecutive loss after starting the season 13-0.
And the OSU baseball team is back at it with their preseason scrimmages that have started up this week. After losing to Mississippi State last season in the College World Series, they are looking to come back this season to play better than ever and take their 3rd championship title under head coach Pat Casey. Anna and I went out to the scrimmage last night and caught up with first-team preseason All-American Michael Conforto to see what the title means to him.
It's crazy. I mean, just coming in as a freshman, I never, I could have never seen it coming, and I did a lot of work. I worked with the coaches a lot, and they really developed me as a player, and so now that I'm here, my junior year, and 2 years later, it feels great to be named one of those players, but at the same time, it's just preseason. Doesn't mean much about this season, so I still got a lot of work.
So you're a first-year pitcher this year. You actually
talked with junior transfer Phil Beldine about what it's like switching from pitching for a JC to being a part-time D1 team.
Transferred from a JC. How was the experience working with a D1 team?
It's a pretty big difference. I mean, baseball's, just like Mike said, baseball is universal. It's the same thing everywhere you go, but just the atmosphere and the school atmosphere and just being around all these new guys that I've watched on TV that I know are great players is a pretty big difference, and coming in knowing guys just by their names, it's kind of a cool thing to get to know them on a personal level.
And how did the scrimmage go today?
I felt it went pretty well. A couple mistake pitches, but that's what we're doing it to get those out of the way, but I feel like it went pretty well.
The season starts up February 14th in Arizona, where the Beavs will take on Gonzaga in the Goodyear tournament and will return to play their first home game in Goss Stadium on February 28th. Season tickets are on sale now, and our single game tickets will be available to purchase starting February 17th. I'm Brooke Chrysler.
And I'm Anna Singer. We'll see you next week.
Yesterday, Ashley Van Pelt went around to the 16 campus cafes to talk about the convenience of their multiple locations.
What's cooking for OSU students? Dining services offer many food choices for students.
I feel like it's really easy to live on campus and eat whatever you want. The 3 main options are McNary Hall, Arnold Hall, and West, and then you have the little ones like Bing's right here. Bites, Pangea. Living on campus, I think it's definitely perk of eating on campus. I mean, everything's so close. There's tons of options. I enjoy West mainly. I can get Chinese food, burgers, pizza, Mexican, whenever I need it. So, pretty easy.
With a quick snack and espresso, students can head off to class.
I like that they're very close, so you don't have to walk you don't have to get off campus, especially if you forget to pack a lunch, which I do a lot. If I forget, it's really nice to just be able to run across the street or to run into Kelly or run to the MU and just get something really quick to eat right there.
There are 16 restaurants on campus with student staff.
I have a lot of friends come in who they like it because they know some of the people who work here, but they like the food, and we have a lot of regulars who always get the same thing, always know what they want. So it's nice because it's on campus. So a lot of people study here. People pass by and just get chips or something, and so it's nice because it's very local, but it's also it's student run, and the environment's fun.
From cafes to grills, students can catch up with their friends with a bite to eat on campus. This has been Ashley Van Pelt with your Beaver News.
That's all for tonight, folks. For Beaver News, I'm Conrad Cartmell.
And I'm Dana Delgado. For more Beaver News, like us on Facebook, watch us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @Beaver News. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.